4 out of 10, that's a 40% chance of a tornado within 50 miles of a location. And we've got the heavy rainfall working onshore right now into places like New Orleans. So Chris is going to see the rainfall really begin to pick up farther to the south and east of town. That's where we are dealing with thunder and lightning as well. Some moderate rain moving towards Pensacola as well. But there is that heavy slug of rain getting towards New Orleans. That trip from New Orleans to Slidell will be slow. I-10 has been slow from Biloxi, Pascagoula over to Mobile, even into Pensacola. We've got that moderate to heavy rainfall moving onshore. Panama City, you've seen some heavy rain as well. Even over towards the west coast of Florida, where we've got less rain, even some peaks of sunshine, we're dealing with the rip current danger. So be careful out there. But look at this feed of moisture extending all the way from off the Virginia, North Carolina coastline down into the Gulf, over 1,060 miles. Flooding issues around Atlanta today because of all that tropical moisture. So we talk about the flooding danger, but there's also that severe threat I mentioned. Dr. Navarro here with us to break down why exactly and where exactly within these tropical systems we can see the tornadoes.
Yeah, so as if flooding weren't a big enough issue, let's talk tornadoes with hurricanes as well. So here's our tropical system in the Gulf. And now the winds in a hurricane spin counterclockwise, okay? So the opposite direction that the hands on a clock move. And it's on this side, the right side of the storm. Now remember, the storm is heading this way towards the coastline. So it's to the right of the direction that the storm is moving that we see the greatest threat for tornadoes. And the reason is because you have this long stretch of winds and there's not a lot of stuff over the ocean, no friction. And as it comes onto the land, we have that onshore flow and we create vertical wind shear on the coastline, and that helps fuel the threat for tornadoes.
All right, and then we look at a cross section within the storm. We know about those rain bands. I mean, I think everybody knows that once those tropical systems come onshore, we've got that slug of moisture. You're going to get the downpours, but also because of the motion, we could see this tornado spin up.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot going on here. These white clouds are showing you where the rain bands are. And now the winds here are blowing into the board. That's the strong winds coming onshore that I just showed you on the other side. But we also have an upper level feature in the area. That upper level feature has winds that are cutting across the storm in this direction. So now in the rain bands, you have winds going this way. In the upper levels, you have winds going this way. So you have two completely different directions in the storm over many levels, and that helps create that rotation in the atmosphere that fuels the severe threat. And what makes it even worse with the rain bands is that with the clearing in between, you could also get some daytime heating as well. That would also increase that destabilization, which would increase the threat for severe weather as well. So it's just, there's a lot going on there.
Multifaceted dangers with these systems. You know, I think sometimes, unfortunately, people just think, oh, tropical systems, that means big wind. But really, in this case, we're talking about the severe threat and the water threat, and there's a lot of real estate that has to be ready for it.
You need to be aware of all of the threats, and that includes that threat for severe weather. So from Biloxi all the way west to Lake Charles tomorrow, that's the greatest threat for severe weather. And we do have torcons out. Now, these are a 3, even a 4 over into the western part of Louisiana. So these numbers are fairly high. They're not 0. So that tornado threat is very real, and it's a little bit difficult because these are actually really hard to spot on a radar. So people just need to be aware.
Listen to those warnings. Be ready to move should they be issued for your area. Thanks, Dr. Navarro.